Hello, Greg from Balloon Market here, and welcome to BMTV Live. Yeah, never done that before. Mark's here.
Hi.
We've got the computer here, and we're going to have the questions come up on here. But I've not seen the live yet, so the live feed. So bear with us for a second. If anybody is watching us, who are you? Identify yourselves. Say hello. Yes. Well, here we are. Facebook Live, everybody. Let me turn the volume down. And then we should, it's going to be a show of us looking at the computer, isn't it? And drinking coffee. Anyway, the purpose of this Facebook Live is to ask Mark some questions and to have some questions from the BMTV Nation, if you will, if you have some questions. So we will be referring to the computer to see if there's any questions there showing. And yeah, I've got some questions to start off with, Mark. So you're going to see me with my glasses on now that you probably saw last week. Right, Mark.
Yes.
What have been, that's right, what have been the most, oh, Jess as well. Hello, Jess. What have been the most successful products for Qualitex this year? So far.
That's a good one. Well, I suppose the most successful is going to be the introduction of Procos licensed party wear. Yeah. It's a massive undertaking, but I'm really pleased. I mean, some of the new marketing's coming through now, and we've got some new licenses that I've got yet to tell you about that are on the way. So really, some exciting stuff. That's been an incredible introduction. Yeah. Not only to, you know, we're in the party industry, we're selling balloons, but essentially it's given us some brand new customers, brand new target markets to go for. In terms of balloons, deco bubbles are, as everybody will probably be telling me in a minute, deco bubbles are just, the growth on deco bubbles
Tell me about it.
Impossible to forecast.
Can you have more in the country, please?
Well, we are. I mean, we're essentially getting as many in as we possibly can, and every time we double our growth forecast, guess what?
Yeah, I know.
Everybody else's forecast doubles on top of that. It's incredible.
Well, we keep doubling how much we're ordering, and we've increased our minimum order massively now. We're waiting for them to come in. But I guarantee, if you go out of them, then everybody comes to us, and then we sell out of them, and everybody sells out of them.
There are some good news on stocks. Things are getting a lot better now. Okay. But if you find that it's a core product for you, as I'd say to any customers, is let us know how many you need, and we'll work on forecasts.
Thousands.
Yeah,
lots. Oh, we've got a question from Claire.
Oh, go on, Claire.
Claire would like to get a CBA. Do you have any advice? Best way to go about this, please?
Well, I suppose the easiest thing to do is describe how I did it. I started in the industry donkeys years ago, and one of the first things I did before I was a professional decorator, before I ran a shop, was actually take my certified balloon artist. Yeah. I think that came from, at the time it was the only education pack that was a learning pack that I could just sort of do at home and take away. So what I went through a process of is a little bit like passing your driving test. I learned how to pass my driving test. I passed my driving test, and then on the first few jobs you realise that actually you don't know how to drive.
Yeah. So you start learning once you've got the qualification.
Yeah. So I got the qualification first. My best advice is become a QBN member. Start to watch the educational videos that come with it. Yeah. Start to learn some of the questions that you can ask, but don't rush it. Go through the process. Claire, make as many jobs as you can live, and use the skills that you're learning in the jobs, particularly elements and principles of design. The bit that I always go back to, if I've made a creation and you know, I'm looking at it and everybody must have done this, they've put it together and something not quite right, something missing, it doesn't look as good as some of the instructor's stuff, and you think, I wish I knew what that was. I go back to my old notes, I get my design basics book out and start going through. Oh, really? Has it got, you know, space? Has it got unity? And you know, is there a good line on the design? So just start slowly and introduce the ideas into your work, Claire. In particular, there's a really good person who's sort of held the hands of all the CBAs in the UK, called Carol Dack in our office. And Carol is the person that manages that QBN program. Yeah. And even more so than myself, if you speak to Carol in the office, Carol is absolutely phenomenal at sort of walking people through the process that they've got to do.
From my point of view, I think you're right about you've got to practice, but it gives you the confidence, because Rachel's done training. She's not done CBA, but yet. But when we started 12, 13 years ago, Rachel did a NABAS course, and it's the first thing she ever did, and that just gave her the confidence to go out there and do something. But I think the way you learn now, and the way Rachel still does when she goes out, is take on something that you've never done before and figure it out, because you've got to do it. You know you've got to do it, so you find out. And that's. I don't know if you did any of that when you were.
Essentially, every single job I did when I first started was make it up as you go along. Yeah. And all I guess that all the instructors try and do these days is show some people the shortcuts and essentially give people the confidence to have a go. Yeah. A lot of the time, even if you're not 100% happy with your work, clients are bowled over. Yeah, clients think, oh my God, wow, that's the best thing I've ever seen. But the nature of our industry is we're always trying to better ourselves, always trying to make the perfect design. Yeah. So, and I think that's really positive. Yeah. But what I would say is, challenge yourself by actually getting the work in. Yeah. There's nothing like a deadline.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, Mike is with us.
Hi, Mike.
Claire, I hope that answered your question. Mike, hello. Sue has written a great blog about CBA. It's helping me prepare for mine. So that's Sue Bowler, I would guess.
Yes.
So Sue, we're actually going to, you don't know this yet, we're actually going to have Sue coming in.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, she's going to come in a few weeks, so that's something to look forward to. I'm not too sure what we're going to do, but we're in discussions about doing something a little bit different, so I'm quite excited about that.
Does Sue know?
Sue knows, yes.
Every time we do something a little bit different.
it's not different from my point of view. It's Sue's idea, so we will be doing something. So
One to look forward to.
I'm really, really rather looking forward to that. So, Mike, while you're there, have you got any questions? Or Jess? Or Claire, have you got any other questions?
Be interesting to know from Claire where she is in the process.
Tell you something, gin at this time is just not good.
No, I've tried vodka.
I'm all right. I am fine.
Okay.
Thanks. Yeah. Right. Let's have a look. Questions. We've got a few people watching now. Who else is watching? We've got 10 people watching. So say who you are. Say hello. Just say hello. Why not? Say hello. Right. If nobody else is asking a question, let me get back to these other questions. Oh, what is your prediction for 2017? Trends and things like that.
The big prediction is obviously Trump's going to get in, the pound against the dollar is going to go the other way, and we're all going to be rich.
Yeah.
If that doesn't happen, apologies.
Yeah. Well, you've said it now. It's out there forever. Trump is going to be the President of the United States. Let's not talk politics. Politics is not a good thing to talk about here.
Was that on the list that I shouldn't talk about?
Remember we talked about that list? Yeah, that's it. Okay.
In terms of products, I think for ourselves, you're going to see a lot more exciting licensed product. So obviously balloon coordinates to go with the party wear. I think all of that process is going to be in. But one thing I'm excited, I don't know whether anybody's done anything with this yet, is I still think that we haven't seen the fruition of lighting and balloons. And I think there's going to be, now LEDs are so inexpensive to make. I'm expecting at some point somebody's going to actually bring some balloon-specific lighting to the marketplace, which is going to really change events.
It's something we're looking at right now as well. So we're looking at what lights are out there and what would work, particularly for the 3-foot balloons and stuff like that.
Well, I think that trend's going to continue. Yeah. I think large balloons are here to stay. I don't see that moving away. Yeah. I think they epitomise luxury, and that's what everybody really wants. Yeah. And then if you can do some really, really cool things with lighting, then I wish I knew of the exact products, but I'm expecting that the technology's there. There's certainly a desire from customers there.
Yeah,
there has to be a meeting of those two areas at some point.
We used to have the little, we might have talked about it before, the little LED ones that you twist.
Yes.
And they had a 40% failure rate. Yeah. They were absolutely abysmal.
I remember people putting 3 inside a balloon, and even on an 11-inch, and then struggling with physical lift. Yeah. I think that'd be really exciting to see more of that. Yeah. And I'm guessing everybody else out there would be, really keen to do the same.
So lighting. Oh, you've heard it from Mark. That is Mark's prediction. Right, we think we've got... Oh, Mike, you're surfing. Okay, watching while surfing. That's great. And Ben, hello Ben. You just started doing wedding decoration, working out your cost sheets. What would you recommend to charge as an hourly rate for wedding decor? Oh, that's always a good one, isn't it?
It
always
is.
A good one.
And the one mistake I think everybody does make is on day one, they don't value their time. That's the big one. I think people tend to think I'm learning, so my customers won't pay for a professional service because I'm learning how to do it. When we first did the job cost process and the sheeting, we sort of recommended about 25 pence a minute, £15 an hour as a minimum rate. I'd actually still question that now. If you're a home decorator and all you're doing as an income is balloons, then if you're not working 8 hours a day at that £15 an hour rate, then potentially you might be better off working, for minimum wage somewhere.
Yeah.
So a bit of advice that we had when we talked to an accountancy firm once was essentially work backwards. So decide where you want to be, what your minimum income is, then try and estimate how many jobs that you can get and work backwards from that. Yeah. I know decorators that are quite happy to charge £40 an hour because they know in the preparation that they're doing for each job, they can only do X amount of jobs a week, and therefore to create a suitable living, they're going to need to charge £40 an hour to do that. If that makes sense.
No, we had one of our customers come in as a guest, Ben from Benny Balloon, and he said exactly that. So he works back from, he knows he can, he's he does magic, he does twisting, he does balloon decor, more of that now as well, and he's the guy that did the big dragon thing with me dressed inside, and he said he does exactly that. So he works back from, and I want to earn this much, so I know that's going to take this much. That's 2.5 jobs a weekend, and then he charges appropriately. So that's a really good way of doing it. A lot of people, I think, do undercharge for their time, and they don't consider their time. And I know a lot of business owners that if they work out the number of hours they work on their business, are actually getting paid less than the legal minimum. Yeah. And I think we've all been there at some point. When we started the business, we were sometimes in that situation. But I think it is important to value your time, and when you are providing an excellent service, I think what you should do, in my opinion, is push prices up for a service like this. It's very personal, very professional. Push the price up, keep putting the price up until people stop buying, and then you can bring it down a little bit. I don't know if that's the right way of doing it, but
my only other thing is the target customer, and I think it was interesting that you mentioned that weddings was the sort of the decorator sort of focus is to work on weddings. And again, all the skills that you need to be a wedding coordinator, wedding decorator, are equally transferable to all the corporate world, and it might have just been a term that's used on there, but I think again is your target customers, if they are people that are less wealthy that are getting married, will have a limit on their budget. So always be looking, where can I get the best budget? And that's going to change massively depending on your target customers, and therefore what you can offer is going to massively. A lot of people always say, to how do you get into the corporate world with corporate spend, and everybody's thinking about a big budget. So exactly that, you need to swim in those circles where big budgets are being spent, and otherwise the normal complaint is the same for everyone, is that, I can't get that big budget out of my local retail shop. And the reality is that you can't, because they haven't got the money to spend on it. So look for the big budgets, and that may be a way of doing less customers, less sales per week, but actually increasing the amount of money you can charge.
Yeah, good point. Oh, we've got a couple more. Oh, we're a little quiet, guys. That's because we're all the way over there. We better speak up, because the mics aren't connected to the phone. Hello, Rach. Thanks, honey. Okay, Mark, we have a florist shop. What sort of balloons would you recommend? Mark would say Qualitex.
Well, I think this is really interesting on most florist conditions for flowers, especially fresh cut flowers. You're looking for a moist, cold environment. And if you remember when we were doing the high float BMTV, the worst scenarios for latex balloons are cold, moist environment. So I'd recommend bubble balloons, because that material is least affected by expansion and contraction. So bubbles are fantastic. Foils, you'll find, are really difficult, because if it's hot in the day and you inflate a foil, in the night it's going to be very, very cold, because you generally don't heat a florist shop for obvious reasons. So as the pressure shrinks down and contracts, the balloon contracts down, there's less pressure on the self-sealing valve to seal the balloon. And you're only talking very, very low pressures in a foil balloon. So again, although most people sell foils from a florist shop for displays, it's a tough call to do. So bubble balloons definitely would be, and deco bubbles, because there's nothing better than a deco bubble tied into floristry, because you've got the lift to be able to put some maybe some dried silks or some fresh actually floating with the balloon.
Well, that's one of the things that we're seeing, is that people are now combining live flowers and other floristry, vines and stuff like that, with balloons, and putting ferns and things like that inside bubbles. The bubbles are really, really popular, obviously, because you can put stuff inside there, feathers and things like that as well. So I think bubbles is good. I guess if you're selling foils though, and if somebody coming in and they just want a balloon or a bunch of balloons that you're going to make there and then,
absolutely fine to do. And a lot of florists work on site as well, but I guess I'm reading between the lines and expecting that there's a particular issue. It'd be interesting if you've got a particular issue in your shop. Is there any more specifics we can talk about? Problems that you might have with latex or anything else in the shop?
Yeah, Mark, if you can give us any more details on that, or if it's just ideas you were looking for, please just leave us another message there. Right, it's gone quiet from questions. Jess, you can hear fine. That is great. Thank you. Now, I should do a cat or dog thing like we did. Remember that first interview we did? What should we do?
Just by the way, when it was Friends or Big Bang, I've got to say, Big Bang is what I really think. But how could I ignore my Friends? I didn't think of the TV program.
Oh, I see. That's what you were saying.
So be careful with these.
Yeah. Well, but Big Bang is pretty awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. I've got an inner geek. All right. Now this is an interesting one. Rachel wrote this. She actually wrote all of these.
Rachel or Greg?
Rachel. We also heard that in the UK alone, the estimated number of centenarians, people are at 100, has more than quadrupled from 3,000 in 1983 to 14,500 in 2016. And this trend is set to continue. I did not know that. Is it time to plan a higher age birthday balloon range, 101 to 105?
Well, I think personalisation is really the key here.
Okay.
And essentially, you'll see in 2017, a bit of a preview, we've got some new latex that are running all the way up to 100 as well. So as a business, we are doing more of the 100 age range that we didn't do before.
Yeah.
But with minimum print runs as they are, it's got to be proven globally, really, to be able to do it. And that's why I think the cameo silhouette is a fantastic thing in the industry at the moment. Being able to professionally personalise things is really important. But I think it will be some time before there's enough 101st birthdays for us to be able to do.
It's not going to be long. It's not going to be long. Apparently, I don't know where. I was probably on Facebook that I saw it. But yeah, people that were of my age are likely to live to 90, whereas it used to be 70, 20 years ago, something like that.
I did do a few years ago was to sign up to the census register, and that's really interesting because obviously that registers all new births and so on. Yeah. So that can give any budding marketeers out there that want to target on a particular thing. You'll see at the moment, 50th birthday is still one of our best-selling ranges statistically. But a few years back, 60th was a mad year for that. So anybody it's free to register for census information. It's a bit difficult to trawl through the information to get exactly what you want, but the information is readily available out there. So anybody that wants to target on a particular birthday, that's where I recommend to go and have a look.
That's a good tip there. You saw it here, BMTV live. That's an excellent tip. All right, we've got a message. Oh, Jess Ebbs, you're getting your silhouette today. Oh, you're going to be hours of fun this afternoon. Hours of fun. All right, we've had a message from ourselves, from Balloon Market. Unfortunately, Alison from Balloon Yard can't make the Q&A, but she has asked, I'm doing a wedding in a couple of weeks and the bride wants 4 of the exploding balloon columns around the edge of the dance floor for the first dance. Has he, assuming that means Mark, any advice on the remote control detonator for this? And will the 5-inch hearts rise when the balloon explodes? That's too small to put helium in.
Okay, so the 6-inch hearts, if they are filled, you will fill always helium with helium, as I think we've covered before.
Yeah.
Main reason is that if you don't fill helium with helium, air will escape.
Yep.
And helium will come into the air balloons and they can pop inside. So that's a potential issue. But yes, they will float. They just won't float for a usable length of time. And actually, I think it's a beautiful special effect when you pop that 3 foot, that all the 6-inch hearts float up, but will start to fall back down. Yeah. They'll actually stay up maybe half an hour, depending on how long.
Oh, right, okay.
But over the period of the time, they'll all drop at slightly different rates.
Yeah.
Because you've inflated them slightly differently.
Yeah.
One thing everybody tends to do is cut the necks off.
Yeah.
When they're doing them. On this occasion, I'd advise not to, because it might be that you're extending the float life of the 6-inch heart beyond when the end of, if it's a climax to the event, they're going to still be in the ceiling when everybody leaves. So if you leave the bead on, but tie it so that it's very, very close to the 6-inch balloon rather than leaving a neck, then it's almost as pretty.
So they will actually float?
And they will float, yeah. It's a time for your lab coat and a Greg test.
Don't tell people about the lab coat. Nobody knows about the lab coat yet. You're just giving that away.
Live on BMTV, exclusive.
Okay. Yeah, balloon science is on its way. I always think of, whenever I say balloon science, I always think of Weird Science. Great film, 1980.
The rest of the question was about exploding.
Yeah.
My personal favourite piece of equipment that's out there at the moment is based on a electronic, not a squib, but electronic live fuse that actually detonates and bursts the balloons, and there's a remote control system for that. And a firework company in Scotland, Absolute Firework, is actually doing that.
Is that the Easy Pop?
It is the Easy Pop system. It's great if you've got multiple detonations to do. I think there's also a piece of equipment that's due from Pioneer at some point. But at the moment, that's the bit of kit that is actually out there and you can buy now. And I've used it myself. It works really well. With all exploding balloons, another tip is be careful not to inflate and then downsize. As per our downsizing video the other day on BMTV, when the balloons are really soft, even if you get a really strong explosion or pin or something trying to burst a bit, if there's no surface tension, they'll just go down rather than actually burst.
So you actually want it to be as big as possible.
In opposite, not as large as possible, because you run the danger of it bursting, but you want to have a single final inflation that without letting any gas out, so that the surface tension is as high as it can be.
I see. So it's not stretching, letting it out, and then even if it's only a little bit, that's actually going to strengthen the balloon effectively.
So your final inflation, make it as a final inflation to that size, and tie straight off.
Yeah. Good tip there. So there we are. Hopefully we're going to get the Easy Pop system in and have it demoed by, I think it's Fraser, isn't it?
Fraser.
Yeah, so hopefully Fraser's going to be coming in. He's getting past, obviously November the 5th is quite a big thing for him because they're a fireworks company, and hopefully we're going to get him down and he's going to talk a little bit more about that system. So yes. Right, now, where are we at? Can you believe it? It's 2 minutes to 1. We said we were doing it 12:30 till 1.
Is that the time?
Can you believe it? Steady. Right, I'm going to ask you another question.
Okay.
If you had a shop today, because you have obviously owned a shop, if you had a shop today, what one product or design would you put in your window to attract customers?
Oh, that's a good one. I'd want a massive shop, and I'd want to have a helium or an air-filled arch in my window, because I think there's not enough people displaying what they can actually sell. I think everybody, from our own education down at retail, is focused on selling retail items. I think my window display would have a mixture of decoration, maybe columns, arches, as well as the finished retail items. Because I think there's less people that are really working in that sort of event decor side of the business, and I understand why. You know, with the big crash and less companies spending less. Especially banks, less on their Christmas parties and so on. But I get a feeling that's coming back now.
Yeah, it is a little bit. Yeah, we're seeing that as well. I think a quick link arch though in a window really gives people a really good, like that one you had at the Spring Fair. It was a couple of years ago now, wasn't it? They're really
the one from the Magical Party Designs course. It's awesome. Amazing, and of course there's no poles and bases. So you know, it's something that you can literally set up and leave and not come back from.
I just think something like that is fantastic. Right, well there we are. 1 o'clock.
Oh, that's gone quickly.
And we had a massive 17,512 people. Oh no, sorry. We've got 8 people. All right. Well, I hope to you 8 people watching that was useful. We had a bit of fun. Hopefully we'll do this again. Yeah, maybe every time Mark comes down, we can have some more questions for Mark. And we'll see how that goes. But thank you for joining us. And we'll see you on normal BMTV again soon. Thanks very much.
Thanks for taking the time.
Bye.